Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so let's start. As you said, it's about trying to modernize even more application using Django Ninja. So let's start about how I'm going to present it. So first, we're going to see Django Ninja. If you don't know it yet, what are the challenges that I faced with large-scale applications? Then my vision and kind of potential solution, spoiler, Django Ninja CRUD, and detailed examples. Also, how I tried also to not only improve the developer experience in order to develop endpoints, but also the testing experience. And then finally, the future directions, conclusion, and maybe final thoughts. So first, who am I? So, is it working? Yeah.
So first, yeah, I grew up in Normandy in France, so at the north. And then I moved at Toulouse, at the south, for my studies, and I stayed there in order to work at Pixelia. It's a little startup with a couple of friends where we are developing AI tools for computer vision. And in my free time, so I love playing football, music, painting, and developing, of course, unused web or mobile applications. And recently, open source. So you see with 2 packages. And for now, yeah, it's been 5 years that I've been using Django and Django Ninja for 2 years. Yeah, so next, introduction to Django Ninja. If you didn't see it 2 years ago, Vitaly Khrushchev, the creator of Django Ninja, made an introduction, but it was remotely, since because of the pandemic and stuff. So a little summary about it. All of you maybe know, like, it's a kind of fast API developer experience where you have easy serialization using Pydantic schema and an open API documentation, like, automatically. It's not a big deal since you can do it with other frameworks too, like Django REST framework. But it's kind of cool to have it. And let's start the fight. No, I mean, it's a joke because it really, like, what I'm trying to say, it really depends on you. I mean, each one of you can have some preferences. It's not like a framework is better than anyone else, okay? So, for example, what do I personally love about Django Ninja? It's the abstraction level, like taking the serialization and deserialization layer just a little bit higher, so you don't have to do it in your view function. So yeah, it's done in the middleware layer. So yeah, I really like it. You just have to define, yeah, just like this. The example, I don't know if you can see code really at the backstage or not, but yeah, just a little example so it's visual and yeah, I'm not just talking like that. So yeah, so what are then if the, the developer experience is quite increased with Django Ninja? What are the problems that I faced at scale? It's just like any frameworks you would be using, you have at a certain moment a lot of models, a lot of repetitions in the services that are using it, updating it, and also at the endpoints. So for the services, service layer, it's quite easy. I mean, it's just function, and you're doing quite everything you want with it. But for endpoints, I found it quite difficult. I mean, even though I was refactoring my code all the way I wanted with the services, I had a lot of repetition on the endpoint layer too. So duplicated logic, increases, of course, the risk of inconsistencies. So my next question was, how can I fix all of those problems? How can I minimize, as I've written, boilerplate code and repetitive endpoints? How can I do it in order to, just be less frustrating when you are developing all of the stuff and when, I don't know, sales people are asking you a new vertical in your application, you have to repeat a lot of stuff, and how to not just rush quit. So yeah, a lot of questions that I try to basically try to respond it. And all of this started 1 year ago when I was vacation in Palma de Mallorca. So it's kind of fun that it was in Spain and now I'm back here. So yeah, I was trying to think about how could I fix all those problems. So one of those key was, okay, there's some components, some views that was repeated a lot all over my application. Sometimes it was, for example, a concrete one, the read operation. I had a lot of get functions over an object that was repeated for different schemas. Sometimes you just want a little bit of information, sometimes more, sometimes only IDs and listing IDs of specific objects. You have a lot of revisions, and existing solutions like view sets in Django REST frameworks, for example, didn't offer the flexibility of defining several CRUD actions, for example. And you had, with inheritance, only one possible implementation of each view. So I was thinking about how can I treat them as components, like a notion, a word you obviously often see in front-end development, but we are only taking the good side of it, all right, not JavaScript. And the key specifications include, so class-based view components, even though it doesn't exist in Django Ninja. And that's not exactly what I'm trying to do or implement, like expose class-based views for every people using Django Ninja, but it's just that I need it in order to declare my views as modular as I ever wanted to. And yeah, so easy of creation, of course, the goal is to ease the way for people to create their own modular views. It depends on your specific business logic. It's not always about repetitive CRUD endpoints that everyone ever saw. So first, how to create these potential core objects. So, as you may know, the basic way of creating a get operation, for example, in order to read, let's say, a department object, it's really a basic object, right? Just have an ID, an autofill, and a title. You want to get it with a simple schema, you just get the object. Okay. From this, if you check the code of the get method on the router, you see that it just really about API operation with methods get, okay? And from it, if you read the code of Django Ninja, you see that it's just wrapping up the method add API operation in a declarative. So from it, okay, I could create an object called API view, make the method path all the attributes in it, and abstract away the view function. Then I could just return with a key method called as operation, as a dict, and use it when calling router add API operation with the return results as a dictionary. So we have a way to define an object, serialize it, and use it in order to add the operation. So we just need the router, the object, and we can add a view. But then, how to compose it in what I called API view sets? How to manage them and group them with, I don't know, maybe, and surely with, similar properties like model, of course. So yeah, first I had a look at init subclass. It's kind of init for instances, but for classes. So as soon as you're inheriting this API view set made, I can access all the subclass, all the class attributes of it, and especially the instance, the subclasses of API view. So you just have to inherit from API view, put it as a class attribute to API view set, and then I can just iterate over it in order to change, of course, the view function name to, because it's going to be generic, of course, to the class attribute name. So at the same time, I'm dodging like the conflict possible with view function name. I'm then accessing the API view set from each modular views, so you can access similar, same properties on the API view set in the modular views, and then call the function, the method add view to that is doing what I just talked about previously, like serializing your API view in as operation and call the router with it. But then it was a little bit too abstract. Like I could not expose this to every one of you, every users, and just say, okay, let's go. You can create now your own API views. I had to take some really fundamentals that were both repetitive and common to everyone. And thanks, there's like some endpoints called create, read, update, and delete the CRUD that was first introduced in 1983 by James Martin. I hope you maybe read the book. But yeah, that was like, I found with those the exact kind of endpoints I needed in order to showcase how to declare your views are modular like as components. So yeah, it was kind of the introduction of the package. So I could expose it to everyone, make it understand and see exactly directly how is it, how you could have the declarative and intuitive syntax to kind of every endpoints. You see easily with CRUD, and you can easily think about it for your repetitive and common logic inside your proper business logic. So yeah, just like that, I have defined like 5 classic views and be able to compose my view set as I ever wanted. Even, for example, use the list views several times. As I said, for example, you can list a department with a simple schema and an extended one with related objects and a simple one with just the IDs. You can do whatever you want, but you identified correctly that those endpoints were kind of the same and could be possibly refactored at the top level, I mean, at the definition. Okay, a little bit too abstract, so a little bit of code. What is directly doing what we are writing it, you just see that I've leveraged the inheritance of values in the API view sets. So you just have, for example, you know that the view set linked to department object is going to have views that are going to use the model. So if I access it and access the default schemas, I could easily create lists, create, read, and update, delete views. So just like that, in several lines of code, you just abstract away kind of the boilerplate code in order to expose a new model that you just integrated in your application. And yeah, a key part is the reuse the same in the same views in the same view sets. So for example, if you have migration of a schema, for example, the head of the exposition of your new field or rename a field for certain clients, you could just add a v2 path and just expose the same schema without the need to rewrite another endpoint. So yeah. Again, a lot of abstract talks, so we need concrete examples, like what does it really look like? But first, some vanilla Django Ninja code. So you see when you are writing a classic list endpoints, for example, I'm going to do exactly the same for all the 5 endpoints. You have the basic one, let's say it's your proper business logic endpoint, all right, not a CRUD endpoint. You have to identify around all the use of it what's really similar in order to find the perfect interface. Like it's a general problem, okay? You have to define your own function. I could not do that, but I kind of done it for basic CRUD operations. So yeah, once you found the basic request components, maybe some method around it, pagination class, of course, even though I put a default like Django Ninja has done with limit offset paginations. So yeah, you could easily write some complex endpoints, but also really easy to read. For example, here I'm easily defining a list employees endpoint. That is really just a list, but related to department. Yeah, I didn't introduce the Django models, but you can easily know that employee has a foreign key to department object. So yeah, from direct path where I know the ID is from the model defined that is in the view set and in a view that, yeah, the ID is the one from department, and then you can easily define your schemas and have your endpoint. So really declarative and kind of really usable. But one time, again, I'm really like defining the tools to define it. You are free to not use the once I've, like the CRUD views, my implementations of CRUD views, you can extend them really easily. The key here is that you just have to define them as class attributes. So if you are creating your own custom view, it's going to be another class. You don't have to change the API view set. You just have to add it as a class attribute, and just like that, you have your, you compose your view set, as I said. And yeah, you can do the same for the other one, like create what's changing, like init model. Maybe you're asking why, because sometimes you could have, like with the listing employees, some path parameters, like, okay, if you specifying ID and then something else, or even name, or even any path parameters you ever wanted, there's going to be some path parameters, and maybe you are going to use it in your init model. For example, even the request, in order to link, I don't know, if you are storing the created by user, yeah, and other, yeah, pre-save and post-save, like I prefer to do it, and you maybe should do it here in the endpoint or in the service layer instead of the signals and directly inside the models. But yeah, since it was kind of a little bit opinionated to force users to have the full clean method, I've put it in a pre-save that you can easily override if you want to use directly my implementations of yeah, my views here, create view. And one time again, yeah, it's in the blue one I always written like the request components. But yeah, so once again, you can easily define some complex but the same view, you just have to define a little bit more parameters. So yeah, as I said, in the init model method, I know if really far from the screen you can see the code, but I'll share the slides right after. The init model, you just have to reroute the path parameters ID in the department ID in order to, as I said, override the init model. So you have everything you can want to. And we can do the same. Well, yeah, I skipped this part because I think you understood the idea. You just identify what could be customized in order to be used really largely and minimize the code wherever it's possible. So I've done the same for updates. And then you have it. And yeah, something I just talked about previously was the possibility of defining just a new schema for the same operation really easily by just specifying the path, like just path ID v2, and you have it. Just link it to the right schemas. And finally, yeah, delete, kind of the same. I expose pre-delete and post-delete operations and a get model that I never, never overridden, but I'm just exposing it in order to say that, yeah, I'm allowing any kind of customization, but you're free to do whatever you ever wanted. And yeah, maybe not more, yeah. And let's get it. How, yeah, some key component in the package is how can I abstract away the link and know which parameters it is of what type. It's really easy when you have the path and the model. You can easily extract all the strings from your path, like the path parameters and name, and linked it with your model in order to know exactly which field in it is it. So you have kind of accessing get field from the model's meta arguments, and then you have it. You can dynamically generate a runtime your identic schema. And yeah, the key parts. So as I said, you can easily add your custom views because it is about like creating some component-like views for you, proper to your business logic, not only CRUD operations. So yeah, I've talked about it, but how to do it. Yeah, again, a lot of code. I hope really far away from the screen is okay. As I said, you just have to inherit from the API view class, where you define the interface you wanted to. So it's really
is proper to your needs. But I've done an example using the soft-delete operations where you could do it with an update, but it's not an update. And sometimes you wanna, just define your repetitive operations, and you just have to define an inner view function. And it's just easy at that, and you can reuse it with one line everywhere you want across several view sets or inside the same one. So I don't know if you are migrating schemas, as I said. So really easy to define your own one. Just use API view set and your custom view, and it's okay. Now that I've showcased all the features of the package, what's coming after, of course, a little bit of fix, because I've one issue that abstract too much the API view class. I've made it too opinionated around the CRUD operations. Like, I've really made it with, as inputs, only 3 parameters, the request one, path, query, body, when you could potentially have file header or cookie. Like, it's kind of a lie to say that today we can compose any custom view, but it's going to be really soon, matter of weeks before I got this. And of course, implement the most asked feature, like showcase how to create some async views to make people happy about it, and just be on the trend. And then I could maybe think about a V1 that I'm waiting since 1 year, and maybe provide some other common CRUD operations, even though it's maybe not the goal of this package, is that to showcase how to do it, but not use all the tools I will provide in the future. And maybe, extend the vision of the framework. What does that mean is, at first, I really wanted to make this available. As I said, it does not depend on the framework, so maybe adapt it easily to Django REST framework or Fast API or anything, just in order to define some composable approach. But I don't know yet. I just see the V1, and then we are going to see. My experience here didn't stop to trying to enhance the developer experience on the specific task of defining endpoints. I also tried to tackle the testing experience. It was a little bit harder because it was a lot of also repetitive. At first, I was really naive because I tried to repeat the same pattern, like having some component like test objects. While it kind of sounded quite right at first, 1 year after, I would never do that again. Why? Because it was just hidden. It was just, some code was hidden. You were not properly aware of what you were testing all over your applications. You're just using a random test component like object, and it will not take the responsibility of saying to you that, okay, you are really testing everything. If you put this in your test, it's okay. I was not really convinced, and it was really bringing a lot of more problems than solutions. So that's what kind of the thing I try to do, like link the... Oh, 33, actually. But I tried to link all the tests together like that with the names. It was kind of working, but as I said, kind of lack of flexibility and kind of really rigid. It was no generalization was possible because I was through constraining the the status code and stuff. I just skip it to you because it was really a mess. The important part was is that I successfully flattened all the errors I've made and just throw them away with an object called scenario, where it's really just a black box with inputs, request components, and expected statement on the response. For now, it's really basic. You just abstract away the need to do the HTTP call and the use of the client. I found this interface way more easy in order to manage all your scaled tests over your big application. And yeah, I really like the way it goes. Only one test for specific endpoint where you are testing a lot of scenarios together. And the key here is that you can test it, for example, with several users with different permissions and on different objects. And every scenario are completely isolated with a database fallback, as I've written. And yeah, it was, so after the separation and the complete rewrite of it, and separation of Django Ninja, it was just depending on Django. So I was like, okay, maybe it does not have a spot like in this package. So I separated it, even though it's I said a little bit small, but yeah, it's the little brother of Django Ninja CRUD. I've named it Django REST testing, and yeah, take a look. So yeah, as a conclusion, yeah, it was really time-consuming to do all of those, the two packages, the maintenance, and the thing about the features kind of alone. So it was really hard and time-consuming, even though it's a really valuable learning experience. Yeah, I've improved the developer experience for me, so why not for everyone? I hope it's going to work. So yeah. I just want to thank all the Stargazer contributors and sponsors of the packages. Really great without you. It would have been a lot of more difficult. Of course, thanks to GitHub, README, and JetBrains for the open source license. Even though GitHub is kind of natural, but we are kind of not aware of all the advantages of GitHub. And of course, thank you, DjangoCon organizers, for